How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to talk about the Queen Victoria building and the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and I'm just going to compare the sort of timelines that they said that these were built. So yeah, let's see if we can learn something. So this is the Queen Victoria building of Sydney. As you can see, it's a beautiful building. I just want to really show you the sort of detail that they put into this. They said this is built in like the 1890s, so you know, we have to assume everything here was carved with hand chisels. All this stone was brought from, you know, wherever they got the stone with horse and cart. You know, you can just see it's a phenomenal building. Here's another image, a really nice aerial shot of the Queen Victoria building. It just shows you how actually big this structure is. It's 30 meters wide and 190 meters long. I couldn't find anywhere that told me how tall it was as well, but as you can see in this photo, it's very, very tall. And yeah, you know, it's just a magnificent building. Here's some more images of the Queen Victoria building. And here's some statues at the front, you know. I just want to touch on, with all this detail in here, you'd have to be more than a stonemason to be able to do all this stuff, you know. You'd have to be an artist, especially with this sort of statues here. But even this sort of detailing here, you know, to carve that all perfectly symmetrical, you know, the sort of time it must take to do this stuff, you know. It's almost like they didn't have a budget when they went out and build all this stuff. They just said build it. They drew up some plans and they said build it. It's almost like they didn't have a budget. Here's an image of the inside of the Queen Victoria building. As you can see, it's just spectacularly grand. You know, not cutting any corners whatsoever and just going above and beyond. Another photo inside, you know, 1, 2, 3 stories high with huge ceilings. And this is the Sydney Harbour Bridge. You know, very impressive bridge still, you know. These pillars here, you know, we don't see the sort of detail they had in the Queen Victoria building, but it's still a very impressive build. You're probably wondering, you know, where I'm going with all this, but you'll see in a minute. Just another image of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Compare this in your mind with the Queen Victoria Hotel, or just the Queen Victoria building. Compare it in your mind and just sort of imagine how they would have built this, something like this, in the 1930s compared to how they would have built the Queen Victoria building in the 1890s. So yeah, this is the construction photos of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. As you can see, the arches are nearly completed. So yeah, just think in your mind, what do you think took longer? You know, what was the harder build? What do you think took longer? The Sydney Harbour Bridge was 1,149 meters long, and the arch span was 503 meters. So it was longer than the almost 10 times as long as the Queen Victoria building. But obviously, you know, they're building this out with nuts and bolts. It's all prefabricated lengths of steel and that they're fixing together. It's still impressive mathematics, still impressive build, but you know, in my head, I'm thinking right now the Queen Victoria building would have taken longer. So we have it here. The Queen Victoria building was built between 1893 and 1898. Is 30 meters wide, 190 meters long. And here we can see that the Sydney Harbour Bridge actually took longer to build, 1923 and 1932. So some sources say it's about 8 years. On this it's saying 10. So let's just give the benefit of the doubt and say that the Sydney Harbour Bridge took 8 years, whereas the Queen Victoria building took 6. So somehow, with, you know, lesser technology 40 years prior than in Sydney, they were able to build this Queen Victoria building, and they were actually able to build it quicker than the more simple, in my opinion, Sydney Harbour Bridge. You know, the Queen Victoria building. You know, you got the inside, you got the exterior, you got all that detailing in the stone. Comparing that with the build that took longer, Sydney Harbour Bridge, that was nuts and bolts. Still an impressive structure, but you know, it was prefabricated steel, and you're basically just building an exterior. You know, you're not doing all this detailing inside. You know, perhaps there's more to this story than meets the eye, because on paper it doesn't really add up. How are they able to quarry the stone, chisel every detail, and finish it in 6 years? As I mentioned in a previous video, perhaps these buildings were built by a different culture prior to the First Fleet. Maybe that's why the only construction photos I could find was of the dome. It makes sense. Another culture built it. Perhaps even a global culture. We have similar buildings all over the world. This is one in the US. This is one in London. This is one in Berlin. The list goes on and on and on. You'll see so many of these buildings if you keep your eyes open. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope that gave you a different perspective on the sort of history we have been told. If you found that interesting, check out another video on my channel, Hidden Secrets of Adelaide. More of these types of videos will be coming, so stay tuned.